What's up, everybody? Gonna try out a little something new. It's my first stream ever, so I'm a little nervous. Don't be surprised if I say a lot of uhs. A little bit about me. My name is Keith. I started Black Flag a couple of years ago. It's basically my conduit to the hobby community. Show a lot about the tabletop war games I play, and mostly painting. It's probably my favorite aspect of the hobby, and I started it just to show off my models and show my passion for the hobby, and really just trying to interact with the community as best I can. And so anyway, it kind of evolved more and more, and now hopefully with the advent of Twitch and the beauty of the internet, I can stream some of my painting to you guys, and hopefully give me a little feedback, and we'll have some fun. So let's go ahead and just get started. I'll get some music going here, and we'll kick it up. I'm sure we got one here. Alright. So tonight we are doing Jonas Murdoch. He is a Merc solo. He's not like a super must-have kind of guy. But it's a fantastic sculpt by Todd Harris, like one of the best at Privateer Press, and he's like a lot of people take him with like Miss Hunters, Boom Howlers, Forge Guard, stuff like that, just to kind of make him a Cygnar, or make those units faction friendly. He gives the unit assault, a go to ground move, which is once per game kind of thing, and I really don't see him outside of 50-point lists that much, but I have him. Have him go with my Boom Howlers, so we're gonna go ahead and paint him up. Let's go ahead and get a look at where we started at. There's just a little bit done on him so far. His boots, his leg wraps, and his pants, really, that's about it. Just kind of stuff that I was fooling around with, and hopefully tonight I'm going to try and get a lot of his legs done, so a lot of his interior points. Check it out here so I can see the chat. What I was showing here in the little concept reel here, it's just kind of some stuff that like I really had me psyched for this model. This is from Jolly Roger Studio. This guy, I don't know who the artist name is, but what really attracted me to the guy was this awesome leather on the back of the model. You can see like it just looks really worn. It's a sweet like trench coat. Just gives like a ton of life to the model. So that's what I was like, oh, I definitely want to do that. The guy's got a lot of character. I like his silvery foxy hair. And like I said, he's probably not getting a ton of playtime, but it's a super cool model. And yeah, so let's begin. So yeah, man, I always start out with a wet brush. I mean, it's like pretty standard. I'm using the old Games Workshop standard. I get a lot of work done with this brush. This is actually a really old one too. I bought a new one because I think I'm just gonna wear it down. But Games Workshop brushes really hold their point for a while. I've been digging them. As much as I don't want to give that company any more money. The brushes are pretty sweet. So yeah, where I'm at with these boots, it's probably kind of tough to tell, but I really just hit them with some brown, based them. and I washed them once. And they're not quite where I want them to be, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some highlights. I'm just going to take and I'll probably wash it down again with black this time. A lot of the paints that I'm using here are just Games Workshop's Citadel line. It's just what I've used forever. I'll probably try some stuff in the future, but yeah, I'm trying to get it nice and wet. And you know what? Usually I don't have such shaky hands, but you know, first stream. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna hit the highlights on those boots, and I'm right now mixing half of the I guess it used to be snakebite leather. And it's probably a little too sharp right now. I'm gonna wet it. And just hit the tops. And I want it to be sharp because when I hit it with the wash, it's gonna just melt in. And I want these boots to look kind of like dusty and worn. So I'm just hitting them, if you guys can see. I gotta get used to really get it up into the camera. Let me give you guys the full shot instead of the side of my head. It's really not that good looking. With my palette so far, I work with a pretty dry palette. Here in Florida, it's like stuff stays wet pretty long, and I move quick. You know, like when you're working with a solo, it's really you're moving fast. You know, if you're working with a unit, I go to like a more wet palette, but. So yeah, I'm trying to get this better into the camera for you guys so you can see what I'm doing. I know the old boots aren't the most fun, but you know, boots are one of those places that people look quick. You know, they scan down, it's the last thing they look at. I'll try and give them some love. Alright, and so you can see that these highlights look pretty sharp on those boots. And now when I wash them down, you'll see that they flatten out. I'm just going to wash with some Newland oil. Black wash. I really want that wash to seep into the cracks and really pick up some of the detail in these boots because they are pretty good. I mean, it's a really nice sculpt. No, I mean not. The side of the cameras aren't the best, but you can see here. Oh, this camera's kind of dark, right? Do I base them after I paint the model? No. Well, I always prime black. You know, depending on the majority of the colors, and like with Warmachine, I mean, pretty much everything has been dark, so the black really works well, and that's all you see here is that it's primed. And I based them once with the black primer. And as far as that goes, like. Currently I'm using Army Painter's brand, but I've used Krylon before. Like, it really doesn't matter. You just want to get a nice flat black paint, and then start from there. And then I always start at the innermost points. With this guy, it just happens to be the fabric. here in his his pants. Next, I'll move the inside of his jacket outside, and just kind of work my way out because just any kind of painting and layering is going on top. Let's see here. What do I want to go to next? I'll work these wraps, and actually, and I'll just say one other thing too. With a solo like this, I tend to really work details all the way up, right? Like a lot of people like to just base every portion of the model and then go over with like a mid-level, then a highlight. I like to really work each individual piece, like the boots to the end. I'll work these wraps to the end. I'll work the I'll work the pants to the end, because as I go on top of it, with metals and things like that, it's just you're gonna get everything into the creases. And you can even see like where I sprayed this guy. I mean, you can still see a little bit of the metal creep through. I'm not too super concerned with that because when I get in there, I'm just gonna cover that right up. Alright, and so next, it looks like he's got like some kind of armor here. I'm gonna take a look at the concept real quick. It looks like he's got like some kind of armor. I mean, I can't really see. It's super dark inside. Let's see what the concept art looks like. Yeah, I tend to see these guys got some gold armor there. So I'll probably get in there with a little of the gold, get washed down super hard. I mean, he's a trencher. The trenchers usually have that gold armor. So I'm gonna get in there. And I'm sorry if I'm not like super on top of the chats. I have him sitting on my phone here next to me. I'm going in with a metallic gold. I like using metallics. I wash them down with stuff to kind of flatten them out. But a lot of people like to do their own non-metal metallics, which is cool. And the only thing about using metallics after a long time is they are not mixed properly. And see, I'm going to get in there. I don't care how sloppy I am, because I mean, once again, this is all the way on the inside. This model has a ton of detail in it, so like as soon as you start loading it up, you're not even gonna notice this little bit of gold on here. I'll wash it down. He does have a little bit of gold. I'll go ahead and do it underneath his shoulder pads. Like really not mixed. I don't know what they redid to this work armor gold or whatever, but it's like whatever they cut it with, whatever chemicals, like really separates fast. I usually like my metallics like after 6 months of use, when they've kind of evaporated some of that out and it's more concentrated. Probably should be listening to some jams. Almost there. No. Scorn for life. I wonder who that is. I think I know who this guy is. How's the camera look? I mean, this is just some ghetto webcams, you know? Just want to get going. Dave, man, you still in there? Congrats on the Kickstarter. What did you guys did the Kickstarter end today? Mineral? For people who don't know, Mineral is working on a new game. And it's gonna be awesome. You can plug it, Dave. Go ahead. It's got a whole 4 people in here. But no, that's awesome, dude. Well, very, very cool. Alright, I'm kinda struggling to keep this in camera for you guys, I'm sorry. Alright, so what I'm doing now is just really just gonna get the gold armor into places that, you know, are gonna get overlapped with fabric, things like that. You know, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build to get to that trench coat, because it's like kind of the centerpiece of this model. He's a pretty cool dude. And I wanted to make this really nice, sturdy, leather used trench coat. You know, I've done it in some other places, but I think this guy's gonna do like the best. Okay, so I'm just kind of hitting that in there. It's still pretty bright. It's just this kind of gold armor. And let's try and work on this little tabard here. What I'm going to do with that is, since I don't want it to be exactly like my trench coat, I'm going to go with a darker leather. And I want it to be like a reddish leather. So I'm going to start with this Rhinox hide. Once again, these are the old Games Workshop names. I'll translate the new ones for you guys eventually. But you can tell that's how old my paints are. I got them before the line changed over. And I'm just going to get in the main areas here. This is like super dark, so I'm really not even going to bother washing it. Just going to build up right from there. And this Rhinox hide already has a little red in it, so I'm just going to go right with some brown up over it. Is that Tony? Is that Tony's Scorn for Life? He's the guy I've shown you that did concept for GW. And of course where I used to work in New York. Fantastic artist. Dave, I see the link. Do you not see it in the chat? I might have that turned off. Turn it on for you. What I'm doing here is I'm just wet building up the highlights on this leather. And I'm really going in with some brown and some red and just a lot of different colors just to kind of mix like how rich leather looks. And it's kind of really tough to see because it's so dark here. This camera's not nice. You can see him there so far. It's gonna be real tough to see. Camera. I'm gonna have to work on getting a little more light. Alright, and then to bring this up, like I'm not going with white. I'm gonna go with some flesh, elf flesh. It says deleted link. I'll turn that on. Oh, I don't want to mess with the stream right now, but yeah, I'll have to turn on the link. You could probably do like some spaces or something. Maybe trick the thing. Now I'm hitting the sharp highlights inside this leather. My paint's staying nice and wet. It's nice and rainy here tonight, so just dry brushing in there and just trying to get some nice highlight on that top piece of that tabard. And now I'm going to hit the end of it with some gold. Trying to get some nice gold, but it's not mixing very good. I'm going to hit this little metal piece in the end. The auric gold. It's like a super bright gold because with all my Cygnar, I always start super bright and then I wash it with brown and black in the crevices. To get a nice dirty worn look. Got a real hasty prime job on this guy. He's really not like something's inside. I'm not primed very well. He also has like yeah, for sure, dude. I've been wanting to get a piece of that Xerxes, man. Xerxes 2, gorgeous model. Take a look at this concept again. Like you see his knee pads are like they have almost like 3 levels of color in there, right? That's what I shoot for with my gold. I don't want just plain gold. I want it to be like really a burnished, brassy gold, really used in the field worn. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hit that next on those knee pads. Where I lost my pip on this one. Anyway, I'll keep my mug out of the face. That way I can get a little bit better shot of what's going on here. So now I'm going to move to these to the knee pads. no hasty prime job, man. Everybody hates it. So yeah, I'm gonna hit his knee pads here, and I'm gonna start hitting up some of this gold. Show you guys what I'm talking about. And I just realized too that these knee pads have a little bit of leather on the back side that I missed. Make sure I'm getting this really good light for you guys. This bright gold too. I often just do 2 or 3 coats, man, just to really get it right. Alright, so now I'm gonna hit this gold up with a nice wash. Nice wash, let's do this. And I'm gonna use the old Reckling shade, just Games Workshop brown wash. Alright, you can see what I'm going to do here. You just really let the wash do the work, you know? You just hit it in these crevices. And when you're doing your washes, you always want to just hold them down. Let the liquid pool in the areas that you're going to create a little effect. And always let them dry. Before you start with the next. And this like really takes the yellow off the gold. And this particular guy is really dirty. I mean, you can see it here. It's like pooled up on here, but as soon as it dries, it's got a nice fade. Alright, well while that is drying, I think what I'll do is I'll start basing the coat, which is what I really wanted to do tonight. I'm gonna start. I might mix a custom one. I'm gonna take a look at this real quick here. You can see how he's got like, so he has like a rich brown up towards the belt, and then it moves into like a fade, nice beat up faded, right from like where the leather would just be constantly tattered and ripped, you know, and pushed and pulled and lightened up. But then it has another dirt layer on top of it, so it almost goes to like a mid to a light to a dark again. And what I'm going to change, like my soot and stuff on the ends of it, I'm going to do with a weathering powder, because I just love how it looks. And then I'm going to kind of do my own fade from where like the fresh leather moves to the worn leather. So that's what I'm going to start with first. Let's get back on shop. And I'm going to start with the snakebite leather again. But I'm not going to do, and I'm going to mix this one by hand. I do a lot of mixing myself on the palette. You can get a look at my palette. It's just, you know, full of old crap. And I don't mind it. I like it. We're looking at it. But yeah, I'm gonna start with the snakebite. I'm gonna I'm actually gonna take some of the orange out of it. And just give it a richer brown. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little of this dwarf flesh to lighten it up. Which, as you can see, I'll move this right in here so you guys can see how I'm doing it. So it's kind of taking some of the orange and yellow out of it, and I'm going to mix in some the Mournfang brown, just standard base brown. I'm gonna work super fast to not lose this color. So you can see where it's at now. He's got a ton of these bags on here, and I think I might actually, I think I'm gonna do those the same color as well. I'm just gonna do the whole thing. I might switch over to a bigger brush here. Like I'll do his belt a different color leather. But the thing to remember is you don't want to go too crazy with some of these super detailed models, like doing a unique color to each item, because it will just look like a mess. Being a small medium that miniatures are. So I try and reuse the same colors as much as I can all over, instead of doing like, different colored belt buckles and different colored. You can already see this is not gonna cut it on enough paint. That happens sometimes. I'm just gonna water down a little bit. Keep moving quick. And I'm still at that point in the model too where like I don't care if I start moving on some areas, because I'll be able to clean up later. And I'm gonna get into everything here. I'm gonna get into all of these. I missed a little bit of his armor there. Let's see where we're at here. Looks like he's got like a little sleeve here. I can't tell if it's part of the jacket or not, so I'm going to just include it. I've already done a little bit of his looks like he cut his arms off his jacket. Because he was just too badass for sleeves, I guess. And the story is this guy is supposed to be able to, like, take any merc unit, whip them into shape. But if, I was some badass troll mercenary, I wouldn't take no lip. This old guy. Looks like I'm making it. So now you can see I'm in panic mode. I'm running out of my mixed color. This is why some people like to, work with pure colors everywhere. I like to hand mix colors because, it just adds to like a level of uniqueness to every model, every color. Especially when you have all these fabrics and earth tones and stuff like that. For my units, like, storm blades and things like that, of course I want the same blue, but when working with this many solos and fabrics and stuff, it's like, I want stuff to feel unique. So now I'm just gonna catch these edges in here. So again, I am stretching this paint pretty far. I'll just like to smudge in here and then we'll go back and fix. It's really tight in there in that leg. And people aren't really going to see that so much. And in here, this is like really where steady hand comes into play. You want to just hit those edges. The safer way would be to paint it, repaint it. But I just, on the edge of the jacket, I always just kind of so some straps. I might do this fanny pack a little bit different. I think I got it pretty good. I mean, my man really does have some ripped off sleeves. Is that wow, isn't the concept? Can't see. And see, looking at this now, yeah, he's got a really nice, like, almost olive drab, like it almost goes to a greenish, pale edge, which is really cool. Yeah. Oh man, I haven't checked to see if my stream is alive or not yet. You still rolling, boys? Can't say. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna advertise this when I like, I don't know, I get my chops a little bit, you know. A lot of it comes to just talking, sometimes painting. You know, I think I need to get a better main cam, like on the model, for sure. I mean, I have a nice camera that I can use. I need a capture deck. Do it. Let me get this for you guys so you can really get a better shot of what's going on here. Alright, so I got my leather, I've got it all based. This is pretty basic brown. And what I'm going to do is start fading it up. My wife says, put your glasses on, you're squinting. Man, that's some sage advice. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start getting this a little bit, I'm going to try and fade this brown down. And I might have lost too much of my color to do it. I want this nice like light olive drab. You know, beaten leather area. So I'm gonna mix wet with this. And you can see what I'm doing is I'm basically just lining up my color to go down. All this will stay wet, and this is really where you want to use like a wet palette for it. But I'm leaving it on the edge tonight. So I'm going to do is I'm going to get in here and just wet down the area where I want to start to fade with my base brown. It can be super light. You know, keep the paint thin. Just start mixing down by hand. You can see what I'm doing here. See how this is starting to get a little green? And I'm gonna go real, you know, you can go super loose with this. Because, once again, it's gonna be the tattered leather area, and you can see that just makes a nice fade down. And I'm using, and clearly I'm using like an old brush. You don't want to use a nice brush for this. But I want this to feel really beaten. I'm just gonna dry brush up here where I don't want it to feel super beaten leather, just to give it some wear on the edges of the arms. And I'm just gonna start hitting up the bags too, because once again, those bags are gonna wear, like, you know, on the corners and the edges. Get my super light going. I need to wet it down too. Bits. And so now I'm really hitting the tops of my fabric. I'm gonna try and get back some of my old brown there and highlight with it while it's wet. And you can see what I'm doing is hitting right at the tops of this, the bright areas of the wrinkles and stuff. You know, Warmachine, I've been doing a lot. You know, you do a ton of fabric, and it's tough. Everybody hates it. I'm just really kind of just dry brushing, hitting the edges of my leather pouches here. And I'm gonna go one more time over this with a super bright highlight. I don't work too hard on like these inside flaps because A, no one's really looking at them, and B, like when they're in natural light, they just get darkened down to hell. You don't want to forget them, but I don't spend too much time in there. I want them to be dark, and plus, I mean, that's really dirty as anything. I'm gonna start adding some of the weathering powders. Let's see what I'm getting here. Kind of wishing I did the fanny pack. Alright. And so now you're going to see here. So I've really faded down my brown from this like rich natural brown to this more beaten kind, and it might look it might look heavy on the beaten area here, but that's, like I said, it's going to be hit with the weathering powders. And hopefully I'm going to show you that here. Let's let this dry a little bit. And I'm going to hit some sharp highlights here while I still got a little bit of my color left. I'm just taking some bleach bone. I'm going to mix that down in. I'm going to keep it pretty wet. I've only recently started really working with thinner paint. It just reacts much better. You can get just really slight lines. I'm just gonna hit just some bright spots on the pouches. In the corners of the pouches and stuff. Some of these rips. Hit this edge here. I'm gonna get around the outside of the square here. This is a sweet sculpt. I mean, it's got like plenty of detail in the on the edge of the leather. It's got some nice holes in it and stuff. You can see with thin paint, I mean, you really just get, this is almost too sharp. I'll probably try and work it down a little bit, but thin paint just kind of melts in nice. Tatter up the edges here with this sweet cut off. Got some little a little bit of equipment down here. This bone might have been a sharp highlight, but I like it. I want it to feel sharp. Alright, and now before I do this weathering powder, I'm going to make sure everything on the legs is pretty good, because these powders go everywhere. And that's okay, because his legs are going to be dirty, but I want to make sure everything on the lower portion of his body is pretty much done. And everything is, and I'm just hitting a little bit of the breastplate armor that I missed. You can see I'm saving his belt for a different leather. I might do these straps. I might keep these black to kind of match the pants. I might do them something else. He's got some binocs in here. Sweet bandana. I can't tell if that's part of his jacket in there or not. I'll have to get in there and look again. But the lower portion is pretty well set, except for his leg wraps. And I might just hit those up real quick with some hot or some this bleach bone. Just to hit the sharp highlights on the socks, because I like that they are kind of already with the wash once. And then when I get out the powder, it gets on them a little bit, so what? I might go back and wash those wraps. They're really bright. There's really not a lot of it's really not. Why do I have so much shadow? Let's see where we're at here. I know my white balance is like super off here, but yeah, I might wash those socks and then re-highlight them just to get some detail back. And I'm gonna go with some New One oil, just a little bit to hit inside the creases here. You can see it because I want people to be able to see the lines in them. Gather really hard in there. And you can see that kind of really dulled them down. Got some light here. You really need to relight this. It's like the camera is like. Oh man. Alright. So yeah, let's highlight those socks one more time. Just hitting the folds of these socks at the tops, because this is where the light's hitting it. I'm sorry if you can't really see this angle right now, but okay. So just a little more detail on the socks. How do I get so much shadow on this model? Oh, because it was like that. So I need to hold this model flat so you guys can see. This almost looks better. Upside down. Some more detail in there. So Tony, you're painting your veil too? Can't wait to play that. I won't be there here anymore. Alright, and one last thing, I'm gonna go back and just hit the highlights of this all the gold that's in here. Let's see, I'm down there. Hitting like just the tops of these knee pads, and I'll probably hit a little rivets on the side, edges. I'm just using the side of my brush to really just hit the highlight of them. And I mean, I don't know if the camera can really pick it up, but it's just got that richness that I was looking for, right? Where it's just kind of beat up looking and only strong on the tops. I might as well just go through and just highlight all this gold real quick, just on the edges. get back. It's a little too brown. Maybe hit the tops like this, just to brighten it up again. Okay, and then that thing on this tabard, a little bit. Let's get some back. Cool. All right. So the lower portion really is good. It's really where I want it to be. I might I might hit some brown wash just on the pockets and stuff here. To get a little more brown in this again, and just bring out the detail in these items. I mean, the wash might look stark at first, but once it dries nice. And I want to just to get in these folds to really kind of give myself an edge. So he's got some little, I don't know, some little buttons on there. Might go back later and hit those with some gold. But just so you can see, where I hit on the creases of those pockets, just to kind of give them some contrast. All right. So for me to go to sleep tonight, I really want tatter up this jacket and make it just like the guys from Jolly Roger did. I mean, I don't mind biting off this look. It looks awesome. I'm gonna get in there real close and make sure they did a lot. It seems like they got a lot of like soot and darkness in their pouches and stuff. I might do the same thing. So what I'm using here is these MIG, let me get the camera out for you guys. I'm using these MIG weathering powders. I just really started using them in the last couple of years. They are awesome, but they are messy and they take a while to master. Make sure you're definitely using some other old busted brush. I mean, this is probably my grandfather's paintbrush I found in the garage somewhere. And yeah, you want to just it comes really weird. You can't really see this is a black one, but I have some rust ones too, and it's not as fine as I would like it to be. A lot of people brush this on and seal it with some rubbing alcohol. I don't do that. I keep it flat. You know, it's really using the creases and stuff, so people aren't smudging with their hands. I want it to look nice and flat and sooty, so what I do is I just take my brush, I put it in, I get a little bit on there, and I apply it to where I want it to be the heaviest, and just put a few grains on there like this. I wipe off the excess, and then I start working that in, and then just break it up, because I mean this stuff is super fine and it will fade on you quick, and it will, the black especially gets really dark fast. So I'm just really being gentle here, and kind of when I get a nice gradient happening in the dark areas, I'll blow off the excess or push in like the dark stuff, and when I get it to kind of where I like, I blow off the excess, and I just start using what's on the brush to really get in And I mean, this, like, it almost gives like an airbrush fade to it. I mean, it just looks so awesome. And it gets in all the cracks. I mean, you can see on the camera there, it just looks awesome. It just looks like a really dirty, old, worn piece of leather, man. You know, I'm letting it pile up in the heaviest areas. Just start breaking it up like this. If I get too much on, blow it off. And just start working it. That's why I wasn't too concerned about those little holes on there, because I knew I was going to be caking in this stuff. I mean, it really just gathers awesome in the folds. It's amazing. But as you can see, it's all over the place here. You can't really see because it's defocused out so hard, but I mean, it's on my fingers. This crap will get everywhere. No joke. I usually work with something like in my lap, but you know, just like my lack of wet palette tonight, I'm on the edge. I want to put some of this in these creases here. Before it gets really broken up, I mean, you can blow it around a little bit. And later when I go back in there with that brown on his belt, it's gonna pop right off. I would like to actually get some of this in the his bags here. I'm gonna just pick up a few little pieces that's on my desk here. I'm not gonna go too crazy because, like, seriously, one little dot of this stuff goes a long way. I usually like to end with this stuff because it gets everywhere. And I usually gotta take like an air can over here to kind of clean it up. I'm getting too far off camera. Let's see here. So you can see, I mean, this is almost exactly what I was going for. I'm really happy with it. Look at the tarnish stuff. This looks beat up, you know, bent through the ringer. I mean, this guy's a grizzled veteran. Alright, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in here with this. I don't even care how much I use in there because this is dark and beat up anyway. I'm just going to let the light do the best for me. Try and get a little bit in this corner crease here. Just to match up. Very good. And I'm actually going to get under here. I'm really bad about getting the undersides of my models. Just like a magician, man. What you don't even see, you don't lose it. Once again, I'm going super sparingly with this stuff because, I mean, it's really difficult to correct if you do too much. I should show you one of my old Space Wolf drop pods. I went a little over the top with it. And yeah, there's no coming back from that one. It's pretty burned up on re-entry. Alright, I think that's really where I want it to be. I mean, this guy's got a little ways to go. I would say he's like 60% or so. I mean, I need to work on obviously flesh tones, weapons. I always do weapons last. I mean, this backpack full of stuff. It's got a sweet shovel on here and bedroll and stuff. Just trencher gear. I'll probably work on that by itself as well. But I got this jacket really Really awesome, really where I wanted it to be. Some sweet detail on this little pouch here. This big pouch could really just use a little contrast. I might hit it with a little more powder. And those two. What's on there? See, I want a little over the top on that, right? But it's got some nice contrast to the model. I might just go back and highlight it, and then just look like a dirty ass pouch. Alright. And then when you're done with these powders, you can just wash them off just like anything else, you know? Alright, so yeah, man, I think I'm gonna kill it there. Where do you get the powders? Somebody says. I got these MIG powders. Oh, jeez, where did I get these from? You can find them on. Was it War Store? They're not super available. I'm sure they're on eBay. Honestly, I can't remember where I got them. I think it was War Store. Tony, you can borrow these, dude. Seriously, I'll never use this for the rest of my life. It's used such a little amount. I have this rust, standard rust. I have like one that's a little more redder, and you know, I got the idea from the World War II like reenactment, or those those models. I don't know what that game, what they play, but they do amazing weathering on the tanks and stuff. Yeah, you can find tons of tutorials online too, like how to, how to really work with them well. People do a lot of really cool rust and all kinds of sweet tricks with them. So yeah, man, I think that's gonna do it for my first stream. I will probably work on part 2 of this guy next week if I can get to it. Maybe this weekend. I don't know. I'll definitely record it. I'll post up some pictures too of this guy so you can see a little more detail. And yeah, until next time, you can definitely hit me up on Twitter.